Hi everybody. This week we've got Tony Boydell back for our top 5 through 1 games of 2019. Remember to subscribe to the video channel here below, and we look forward to having more of you viewing the videos and then heading over also and talking to us on the guild or blog on BGG. GarrettsGames.com is where you can find the podcast, which is up to 723 this week. So I hope you guys are listening, and we're glad to have you watching. All right, guys, it's time now for our top 5, and Shell's going to start again. So here is top 5 from 2019. Shell?
Before we start, Shell, can I just say, I hope you've had a good week since we last spoke, because it's been a heck of a week, isn't it? I certainly didn't expect that to happen.
I know.
There you go.
The clothing is just remaining the same and everything.
Yeah, my favorite jumper. I just don't. Yeah, I'm wearing nothing else, just my jumper.
All right, number 5.
My number 5 is Zoom In Barcelona. It has a little bit of the Ticket to Ride-esque in it, but it is totally different in that you are going around taking photos of specific spots within Barcelona. Every card is unique. Every card is an actual place in Barcelona. So it's stunning. It's not real photos. It's actual drawings done.
Cool little game.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And so everybody sees the cards that are available. So everybody's trying to get to those places to take the photo. And you can go slow. You could go fast. You can jump on a metro and kind of skip to locations. You can go to a tourist stop and get different modes of transportation. So you're not just walking a short amount. You might get on a bike, or you might get on a moped. So you're trying to get you're jumping around on a map, but you're trying to get to these cards. And as soon as a certain number of cards is completed, the game's over. Then there's also another component to it where you have nighttime spots you're trying to get to, and you can't even score them unless you get to a certain amount level of them. Then that's how much your score is going to happen. It's just really a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. A map game that I would highly recommend people play.
Zoom In Barcelona.
Zoom Barcelona.
Yeah.
Just writing these. I don't know why I'm writing these down. I could just look over the video, can't I?
Oh, it's so beautiful too. It's just stunning.
All right, you're number 5, Tony.
Right, my number 5. Right, I've got to reach over and get it. Actually, is Fantastic Factories.
Oh.
Which is sort of, how can I describe? It's a bit like Voyages of Marco Polo, but you have your own personal action board. Basically, you have a set of dice, you roll them, and you allocate them to a number of basic zones, which are on your starting sort of factory. And then you get resources, which are energy and metal. And then you use energy and metal to subsequently buy cards, which are then further versions of action spaces that you can assign your rolled dice to. And the ultimate aim is to produce goods. And the first person to build a certain number of factories or have produced a certain number of sort of finished goods from these factories. And they're generic goods. They're not different. They're just the same sort of chit that you get when you produce it. That signals the end of the game, and then whoever has the most victory points is the winner. And it does what it does really clearly and in a straightforward manner, and it zips along. And you roll your dice, you allocate them, and you perhaps draft a couple of buildings for use later on, and then you maybe draft a couple, just temporarily for one turn, a helper that can boost an action or give you an extra dice just for that turn. And it's just fantastic. As it says, Fantastic Factories. It plays really well solo, and it plays really well with 5 players and anywhere in between. So Fantastic Factories.
Scale like that. Yeah, that's good. All right, my number 5 is one we saw last week, and because I love this game. This is just a wonderful, as you said last time, big game, small package. Looping Games is doing amazing stuff. I love the fact that they're putting these together. I can't wait to play. We have the other one that they released this last year. We haven't gotten a chance to play, which is a co-op game set in World War II. But
yeah, the Yorktown, isn't it? The aircraft. Yeah, the aircraft carrier. Yeah.
As Shelley said, you draft, and there's 5 colored tokens. Sets of 5 colored tokens. You're drafting those from the bag. You draw 10, and you organize them by color. And as you place on an action, and this is the cool thing, say Shelley had placed before, she placed 2 orange on an action. I place 3 black. I have to beat the number that she's got on it, but I get those 2 orange. And if I already had maybe 2 orange, now I have 4 orange for a subsequent play. And so that dynamic of the action kind of building and figuring out which ones that you want to do and the order that you want to do them in is very cool. So this just is very high on our list for a lot of different reasons. That's number 5. All right, Shell is up to
Mine
number
is
4.
heavy too. Okay, so Railroad Revolution came out a while back,
2 years ago.
and we enjoyed the game quite a bit. Well, now there's an expansion for it called Railroad Evolution. It's within the box because we don't keep extra boxes because we don't have any space for anything. This one works a lot with having just one track instead of multiple tracks.
Over on the side.
On the side that they so you're not having to fiddle with that. It's just one track that goes up, and then there's like the Wells Fargo wagon. What is that? Is that what it's called?
The telegraph.
The telegraph part has changed. I guess there was a way to kind of break it that some people had to turn.
That was a bit of a broken thing, wasn't it?
Like that. So that's been fixed. It really does make the game just so much fun because there's adjustments to when you would go get your money. Instead of just going to get money, now you can you get some kind of other reward that then is blocked off for other people. So there's other rewards that you can get.
Yeah.
And then your trains become better because you get to put like
it's not just engines, it's cars
attached to the trains. So it adds that component to it. It adds just on it just makes the game that much better than it was before. So I love this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. Your number 4, sir?
Right, my number 4, I'm just going to move over a little bit more. It is Fish Farewell Forever. It's a solo game from the guy that designed Shelley, the solo speed game. And this is an absolute wonder of a game. I mean, it plays in 5 to 10 minutes. And it's a very zen game. The whole point is that you are kind of trying to get your life in order before you pass over into the next life. And it does this by basically giving you, it sounds weird, I know. You basically have a deck of 30 cards and you draw 5 cards to start with. And the cards have different abilities, and some of them are just basically money cards. And every card has a cost in the corner for getting it out of the deck, out of the game. And the idea is that you have to get all of your cards in your deck out of the game. You have to basically, the deck has to disappear of its own behind. So you have to use the deck to pay to get rid of the deck. And some of the special abilities will help you do this, and the money will help you do this. But the money's great, but some of the big money is really expensive to get rid of. And then there are dumb cards like Lust and can't remember, Greed, which are heavy costs to get rid of. And they don't do anything. They just clog up your deck. And the idea is that as you go through, you are getting cards out of the game. You can get rid of 1 card each turn unless you play a specific card that lets you do more. And that could be a pain in the bum as well, if you can't get more than 1. Because every time the deck runs out and you need to reshuffle and start the deck again, you have to get rid of 2 cards from your sort of taken out of the game pile. If you run out of cards to remove from the game in order to pay to flip the deck, you lose the game entirely. So you've got to make sure that you're constantly getting rid of the crappy cards and maintaining enough of a sort of a float in the afterlife to be able to keep cycling through your deck. It all becomes really clear after 1 play. And what's so funny about it is that once you've got rid of your deck, and I've done this a few times now, I'm about 50-50 on this, is that the box for the game, the rules for the game, and the tray that the cards go into also have a cost for removing them from the game. So if you finish the 30-card deck and you've still got 12 cards in your pool, you can get rid of the rules and the tray and the deck stack. So there's like a way of winning, and there's a way of winning perfectly, where the whole game basically disappears into nothingness. Disappears everything behind. It is absolute genius. Genius. Fish Farewell Forever. In fact, I might just bump this up to my number 1. But it might be, we'll see. Fish Farewell Forever. Wonderful.
It's a solo game.
Solo game, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, because we're together and we play most of our games together, there's going to be some repeats here. We've already seen one. And so the next one is Promenade. All right. And so I said, and I didn't want to say as much when Shelley was doing it, but the thing that I think you'd like about this, the Dominion-esque part, Tony, but also the idea that the cards, the paintings that are in your hand change value, increase in value. So therefore, you're able to buy more with particular paintings as they go up in value. So you're able to do more. And so that stock market-esque element is what is so cool and the nice wrinkle in this game. And really enjoy this, besides the fact that it's really beautiful. So Promenade, Tate Wu, really solid. My understanding is that this game, which was just self-published, it was kickstarted, is going to be coming out from Rio Grande Games in the future. So that's going to be something to look into.
Awesome. That's great.
All right, Shelley, you're number 3.
Oh, this game is brilliant. Marco Polo 2. I can't recommend it enough. It is just so much fun to play. It's heavy game, but it's just the right heavy, I think. I mean, it would take us like an hour and
a little over an hour with two players,
to play. And so if you had a bigger group, it would take longer.
2 to 4 players.
You're trying to do stuff on the board, move around, put out little houses. You have to use your dice in really unique ways.
Yeah. Better than Marco Polo 1.
It's just
right now. Marco Polo 1 is fantastic. I really like that game a lot. I would play it on Yukata, but
much more than Marco Polo 1. The way the dice are used, what kind of dice you need to use to go to certain places, and how the next person who goes there, they have to pay, or they have to do other things so they can do the same action. Or once that action is blocked, you have to get more dice. You have to turn in your camels to get more dice. And it's just
the thing that I like that's the change from the first one is that you can actually keep this up, because this is my number 3 as well.
Oh, it is?
All right, so we'll just move on to Tony and finish out 3 with this. This is my number 3. The thing that I really like about this is that the contracts, which were kind of are central to Marco Polo 1, are still important, but they aren't as centralized. There are other possibilities that make for different ways to proceed, and so I like that change, if you will, to this second version. All right,
it'll be on my list because I really like the first one. Now this one sounds a bit of a cheat, but this is not about me. My game number 3 is Lux Aeterna, not because it's a solo game by me, although I do like it. I mean, I do like the games that I design. It's my number 3 because the artwork is astonishing and designed, put together by my wife's cousin Alex. The artwork, I mean, Scott did a thing about this. It's quite funny. He did a video posted up this morning of him playing this. So I say this morning, I mean, this is probably about 2 weeks ago now in time. But he played this and he didn't win a single game. You think he played it like 4 times and he lost every single time. But you can really see the artwork in Scott's video. He's playing solitaire, and it's so evocative. It's sort of Jean Giraud-ish, a little bit Mobius, but there's a little bit of humor in there as well. There's a bit where you kind of lock your transmitter to a certain frequency, and there's just a picture of a broken dial and a hammer, and there's a loneliness and a melancholy to it, which really speaks to the inspiration, which is 2001: A Space Odyssey, and the music of Ligeti. This one occupant of this spaceship that's in dire peril, she is a young girl and she's in charge of the spaceship, and she's having to make do and improvise and survive this series of catastrophes that have befallen her. And Alex's artwork really evokes that feeling of solitude and loneliness and desperation in such clean and sort of vivid ways. The way that he uses spot color in the images. It's number 3 because the artwork is just beautiful. I'm kind of unashamedly getting a bit of a plug in there, but it's for his artwork that I'm doing it, because I love it so much. I'll show you I'll just put the cover up again.
No, I think it's
it is gorgeous. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Lux Aeterna, my number 3.
Great choice, Tony. I haven't played it. I've got to get a copy.
Well, Yeah, it's hard to get in the States. I'll have to sort something out for you. Wink. I'll wash my hands first, though, as I pack it. All right?
There we go. All right, Shell. What?
Wait, aren't you next?
No, you've got your number
next.
2 because I did my number 3 when you did your number 3. This may look familiar. Oh, look! Oh,
I love this game so much. I will play it anytime. I think it is perfect.
Really?
I do.
Perfect.
I
Okay,
think this
all right.
game is. I just think it's so much fun to play. You have different performers who have different needs. They need different kinds of Tetris pieces. I don't know why, but they do. And so you have to get those, and you have to open up a tents to be able to make your to have the show and the performance, and then you're trying to make the best performance that you can, because if you get higher up, you get to get first choice on all the special powers of people that are going to come to help you in the future, your helpers, which you definitely have to have. And it also gives you scoring cards. And every round you're having to pick one of the cards that you love that manipulates your dice or has certain power. You have to get rid of those to score what the bottom part says. So you're constantly getting rid of a card while you're then taking in another card, and you're trying to get the best one. And I just think it is a really great thing. It's just a lot of fun to play.
It is pretty magnificent.
Yes.
Yeah, right. That was by Artipia, you said, yeah? Is that right? Artipia?
Aporta.
Aporta. Oh, no, sorry. They're the guys that did the Lighthouse game, aren't they, a few years back? Remember that Lighthouse game?
The Lighthouse.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
No, Britannia was that was Placentia.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm getting very confused now.
So, okay. Let's see. Porta did Santa Maria, which was another dice game.
Yeah. Got you. No,
okay.
Yeah, I got you now. Yeah.
Tony,
what is your...
Oh, he's got to swallow. Yeah, I understand. What's your number 2, Tony?
Okay, now this game came out a few years ago, but I picked it up last year. And I think it was reissued last year by Indie Boards and Cards. It's Senators by Ricky Tartar. It's a up to 5-player game, and it plays beautifully with 5 players. You need the full 5 players. And it's a game where you're basically trying to collect sets of resource cards, either in the same number or the same physical resource. And then you cash them in for money, and you use the money to buy Senators. Sounds all very simple. But the 3 actions that you've got are put things up for auction, in which case you can get people to bid on a number of items, and then you can either pay to get those items yourself, or you can take the money off the opponents and let them have those items instead. Or you can basically say, I'm going to sell some of my cards, sell sets, at least one set, and then use the money to buy Senators. Or you can extort, which is where you basically look at somebody's card and go, I'll give you 5 money for that. And then they either have to give you 5 money to keep it, or you take it and you get that card. You can steal things, and it's really nasty. It's really devious. It's a knife fight in a phone booth. It's wonderful. And it's mixed up by an event deck that every player before their turn draws an event on the top of the deck. And they all do different things that are beneficial or disastrous for various players. But they're also war cards. And if you put the most money into a war, you get a free senator. As soon as the 4th war card is drawn, the game ends immediately. And whoever has the most senators is now the winner. So the game can go for 25 minutes or it can go for an hour. And it doesn't matter how long it takes, because every second of that is devious fun. Senators is a work of genius. Absolutely wonderful. Highly recommended.
All right. Okay. My number 2 is Across the United States. This is Okaizu brand, Hisashi Hayashi. I think the cover is kind of goofy looking, but and it's very utilitarian in terms of the graphics. But this is just a fantastic train game that plays in under an hour, regardless of the number of players. Plays 2 to 5, perfect across that. And what I like is that you're getting, part of it is stock. You're getting stock in the trains, but there's this. I've got to play stock down, but I also have to use those cards to get the train to build the track and so on. And it has this just simplicity of rules with the complexity of how am I going to use what I have to do the best that I can. And it's just been a solid title. Okaizu brand, my number 2, Hisashi Hayashi.
Lovely. It's on my list. It's a train game, and it's Hisashi Hayashi.
You will love
that's it. You have
number 1. It is so good. And you can play this with a full contingent of people, and you still will be done in an hour. Train games always they can go too long sometimes, right? This is like you want it to go longer, and it's always going to stop before you want it to. And there's just so many, whenever you go to certain places on the board, you get to do certain things, like maybe put an extra track in and you could play it somewhere different. So that's helping you build up your value in your stocks, right? Or you have to get to your location, so that's going to help you. Sometimes they're going to give you money. Sometimes they're going to get different things depending on what you decide to do when you get to each of the stations. It's just so much fun.
The one thing, and Joe Huber, designer Joe Huber of Caravan and other things, he doesn't like the game for primarily the reason that it's not historically accurate, because you're putting the different train companies, the railroad companies, out on the board in a random bit. And he's like, why is Union Pacific over there? You know. But other than that, I love this game. Yeah.
And it's 5 players, 1 hour, done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes you need
that
can do that with that many players, and you don't want to do it all day. You want it to be just like this really intensity for 1 hour. It's just fantastic.
All right. What's your number 1, Tony?
Well, I can't remember whether you like this one or not, but for me, this was the number 1. It was introduced to me, Res Arcana. It was introduced to me at my gathering of chums last year by my good friend Matt Green, designer of Maya Marsh. And it is a Tom Lehman game, and it is superb. It is an absolute bolt out of the blue. I mean, you shouldn't be surprised, really. He designed Race to the Galaxy, for goodness sake. It is a superb piece of work. Such a lovely, tight world of magical artifacts with resource collection and spending those resources to get more things, which is all very, very traditional. But it does it in such a beautiful, sort of compressed and clean way. There's no fat to this game at all. And the best way to summarize it is, in a game where you can set up the most outrageous turns, the most complicated combinations, it's not a game about that. It's a race game. As soon as somebody gets 10 points or more, the game finishes. That's it, at the end of that round. So you can spend the entire time building up the most gorgeous gold generation combo, but if somebody just gets the 10 points doing the quietest of quiet things, that's it, you've lost. Doesn't matter how wonderful, it doesn't matter what could have been. If I'd had another turn, rubbish. It's completely pointless. It's a race game. It's not a combo builder in that sense. And it's so wonderful to see people realize this and think, oh, damn it, I've just wasted 7 or 8 turns. I mean, people have done the analysis on the game. So yes, if you have the perfect combination of cards coming out at exactly the right time, the game will be over in 3 rounds, which is preposterous. It's not going to happen ever in reality, and well done for working that out. But what you're missing out when you do things like that is on a game that is just a lot of fun, and it plays in half an hour, and it's that beautiful kind of game where everybody goes, that was great. Do you know what? Let's play it again. Yeah. And then the second game is finished, and they'll go, do you know what? Let's play it again. And you end up basically spending the entire evening playing the one game, because everybody is just getting that wonderful sort of, they get a little bit of the endorphin rush because they really enjoy that game, and then it's finished, and then they can do it all over again. And it's not a lot of effort to keep getting to that sort of happy point, if you like. It's a genius game. It is clearly my number 1 of 2019.
That's great.
Awesome.
Tom's local and a friend, and he comes to our Meeple Fest that we do. And last summer he said, so Doug, you might like this one, but you don't like games that I design. And I said, that's not really true, Tom. They're just not. You, Tony, and Tom, you love card combos, having come out of Magic and all of that. And that's not where my kind of passion started. So it takes me a while to get into that. And I also get to the frustration of, because I'm not a card combo guy. I don't see them like you guys like see them, and then it's like, okay. But the way you described it, it sounds like it might be something that would be more up our alley.
It is wonderful. It plays really well at 2-player, and it's got the expansion brings in a 5th player as well. Although, to be honest with you, 3 players, a game like this, it reminds me of Glory to Rome or Race to the Galaxy, games that really work well with the sort of 3 or 4 players at most. You know, I think 3 players for me, games like this, they work fantastically well because there really is, it is a very tight game. It's very, you all feel quite claustrophobic in the space that you're moving, and it's all elbows and it's all key decisions, and everything can rest on that one card that you did play or that you didn't play, or you took a black resource instead of a red resource. And I love it. I love it because it just makes you want to play it again and get good at it.
That's
so
awesome.
Take the Tom, say some guy in England who you don't know thinks Arcana is amazing.
I will make sure that he knows.
Wonderful.
All right. So my number 1 is something that you've talked about already, Tony. It's Wingspan. Okay. Now, I throw a caveat in here, which is that I don't think you should play Wingspan with more than 3 people, and I think it's best with 2. And since we play most of our games 2-player, this is gorgeous. I think the theme is amazing. All those things that you talked about when you were talking about it as an honorable mention apply. But with 2, you don't get bogged down in as much of the, oh, that person's hand is so much better, and everything's thrown off. And you also don't have that situation where, one of the cards that's face up is the exact card I need, but it's going to take 3 other players for that card to still be available when, so 2-player Wingspan, I think, is brilliant. And the theme and the way, the presentation of it, just take it up that notch. And I love it. So it's wonderful. And getting the upgrade. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, I will revise my comments at the start then, because I think I've only ever played it in 4 or 5 players. I've not played it any fewer than that, and I think I've got it on the shelf. I'm not going to get rid of it. I think it is a wonderful design. I've had those bad experiences. I think now is the time for Mrs. B and I perhaps to just get a glass of wine and follow your example and give it a go at 2 players.
That is the suggestion I would make, that you and your wife, I think this is a great entry mid-level game, that knowing what you've played with your wife before, that this is the type of thing. And the theme isn't dungeon crawl, which you're going to get with your kid, or something like that, where she may not like that. This is, hey, we went out in nature today. Let's look at the birds that we may have seen. And it's
and all the
really
pretty
great.
eggs, and they're going to make a little egg, and then you're trying.
Yeah.
And every card, they tell you what the % likelihood is you're gonna be able to accomplish
with some factoid.
So it's not like this random, like, I picked this, I don't know, is that going to do me anything? So some information is given to you, and the beauty factor.
And I don't know if you got the European expansion, but
no, I haven't. I will get that now. I will definitely get that now.
It's really as a 2-player game, I think it is just stellar. So that's my number 1. Then this.
I'm just writing that down as well. You cost me a lot of money, you 2. Really.
I think you did the same for us. We got to get some of those games that you mentioned that we don't have.
But yours are harder to get. Those sort of Okazu brand ones, they are hen's teeth to get hold of.
I think they're gonna.
It's got to be redone.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be redone.
It's so good.
These are the types. Yokohama was redone. And what was the one that just came out? But it was 3-player. I'm forgetting. But another one that somebody had produced. I think it was TM Tasty Minstrel did it as a fancy. So, and I wouldn't mind getting fancy. This is a little bit problematically utilitarian, but
it works so great.
So that was fun. I hope the people watch it.
Good.
This
was fun.
So, are you? As we move forward with these new titles that you've been designing and so on, I know you've got it on Tabletopia? You've got some stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Macabari, and I think it's Rome Sweet Rome, which is my combo-y card thing. That's on Tabletopia. I'm working to get attentional shipping on there as well. I just got to get the dice sorted out on that. But a lot of people are doing it. It's a really busy platform at the moment because players obviously want to play things online, but also us in the publishing can't do the playtesting that we would normally do, and therefore it's the perfect environment. And actually, I've stopped updating my paper copy of Macabari, the 2-player Alubari, because there's no point. I'm just going to play test it now that it's online. It looks gorgeous online as well. It looks amazing on the table.
That's great.
So, yeah.
Now, how does it work? I must say I haven't been on Tabletopia. So, are the games just freely available there, or how? And
yeah. You can pay to get access to more games, in the sense that you can only play like 2 active games on the basic setup. If you want to play more simultaneous games, you have to sort of pay a premium to do that. But a lot of the sites now are saying, can you please pay us? Because, BGA have just gone over 40,000 subscribers at one point. It's just impossible numbers at this point in time.
Yeah.
So I don't resent that. And then for me, a playtesting platform, I don't resent paying to have the facility to develop 4 or 5 games on there, because it's, that's using their server space with my complex graphics and stuff. So I don't resent it.
Yeah, they're supplying something, at a time when, and that, I think that's really important that we support those things, those services and those companies that can really that are helping us through this crazy time. And I will say, Tony, that talking to you and seeing your face is helping us through this crazy time. So I really appreciate you staying.
Well, I'm slightly worried that we're not going to get to meet each other this year at Essen. I've got Oktoberfest has just been cancelled, and I fear that Essen 2 will be cancelled. Yeah, 200,000 people in one place, 3 months after a global pandemic. It's not going to happen.
The last thing that I heard right before we kind of signed on, and this will be not current when this goes up, but the last thing that I heard was that the Essen organizers were waiting until probably August to make a final decision, because and I with my little thing in Meeple Fest, I have to kind of do the same thing where I don't want to lose the money that I've already put out, and that they may require because of contracts signed and stuff, and it takes kind of a government decision of, yeah, you can't do that, for then, okay, that contract's null and void because the government's saying we can't do that, Yeah. So I understand where people are coming from, and if they can postpone, like Liericon, they did a postponement, and over here, Origins, which was going to be in June, postponed till October. So the only one that hasn't changed, the big convention over here, is Gen Con, which is kind of the Essen of US. And they're probably holding off as well for the same exact reasons that I just went over. So it's frustrating, but we got to do a little bit, maybe more of this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming on, and it's great to hear your voice. Great to see your face, and take care.
See you guys. Yeah, stay healthy. Drink more wine.
Yes, more wine. What is that beer?
It's banana bread beer. Tastes of banana bread. It's delicious. Banana bread. It's lovely.
Wow.
All right. Have to check it out.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Okay, guys. I shall see you very soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Good night, buddy.
All right, that'll do it for this week. Look forward to hearing from you down in the comments below about your thoughts on our choices for games. Thanks, Tony, for joining us all the way from England. And I was glad we could keep you in suspense for a week or two here about our top 5 and the way those might have changed. Please keep tuning in. Remember to subscribe below, and we'll see you over on the podcast, which of course is weekly, at garrettsgames.com. Have a great week, everybody.